What's up, everybody? Matt here. Man, this is a kind of a tough video to make. It's so weird. I was literally fine like 2 seconds ago, and as soon as I hit the record button, um, people in my personal life kind of already know this, because I've put it on my Facebook and I've reached out to people, but so my grandmother and grandfather, grandfather is fine. But my grandmother contracted COVID, as did my grandfather, and unfortunately, my grandmother passed away a couple of days ago. At this point, I think time has been really, really weird. So I've taken time off work just to kind of try to figure out what's going on in my head. A lot of people probably don't know this just because haven't really talked about my personal life. It's not exactly the most positive story ever, but it is my story. So my grandparents basically raised me. My mom wasn't really in the picture too much because she's fighting a drug addiction still. I think I haven't talked to her in years. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, things were looking better for her for a little while, and she seemed to be getting better. She seemed to be recovering, but with COVID, it's unfortunately one of those things where it seems like you're getting better, and then you're suddenly not, and then it goes from I'm not getting better, or you're getting better, then you're getting worse, and then you just don't get better. Eventually, everything just it was just oh, sorry guys. Really try not to get emotional here, but it was just too much for her heart, and my grandfather had given the do not resuscitate order, just because even if she had come back from the CPR and everything, her kidneys had failed. She'd have to be on dialysis probably the rest of her life. Um, I'm really trying to keep an eye on the camera, but there's a thing over here distracting me, and that thing is I don't want to look directly at you guys. But yeah, even if she had been resuscitated and come back from that, she would have had to learn how to rewalk and everything, just because the damage that COVID did to her, unfortunately. So the services are this coming Tuesday and Wednesday. I've taken basically the week off of work, so I was supposed to go in this week. I haven't been in since Tuesday, I think. Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Tuesday was the last day that I went in, I'm pretty sure. And I actually have to call them to let them know that, the services are on Wednesday. But it's tough. Death sucks, especially when it's COVID related, because it's something that we should have had a handle on, and we don't, and that makes me angry for so many fucking reasons. And it's just tough. It's been a weird couple of years in general. I think I might have talked about this a couple of years ago, or a year and change ago at this point. One of my best friends overdosed from a drug addiction, which, again, I thought he was getting better, and I'm sure he was, but, it only takes that one time to just change everything. But I just wanted to, I don't know, tell you guys what's going on, and maybe say a few nice things, or some nice memories that I had of her. She was essentially my mom when I was growing up. Because I feel like with something like this, it's better to talk about it, and it's really uncomfortable, and it sucks because you're vulnerable. But it's something that I feel, for me at least, it helps to try to remember the positives. Um, And there were a lot of positives. You know, me and my family don't always get along. I wouldn't say that I'm really close to any of them, just because I'm not really close to a lot of people in general, which is ironic given what I'm trying to do, you know, with this channel and everything. But I think it's just a fear of getting too close. You know, letting people see too much of who you are, where you're not able to just throw that veil back up and be like, oh, just kidding, I'm not that person. But yeah, she was always there for me. One of my favorite memories, I think, of my grandmother was, I think I'd gotten out of school because I had to go to the dentist, and I always loved getting out of school early, even if it was for a doctor's appointment, because more often than not, that meant I could kind of like hang out with my grandmother instead of being in school. And like we used to sit up late at night, and she'd have, oh gosh, I think it was mint chocolate chip. I think was one of her favorite ice creams, or it was something like that. But we would always watch like the 911, you know, True Calls or Unsolved Mysteries back when that was still on. And I would just lay there, you know, with her and eventually fall asleep, and then sometimes wake up in my own bed, which is always confusing as a kid because you're like, I didn't fall asleep here, and how did I get here? More so for me because I used to sleepwalk, so you know that was fun. But one of my favorite memories is that I had gotten out of school early to go to the dentist, and afterwards we had gone to the mall just to look at like clothes or whatever because I was one of those kids where like I was always trying to fit in with who I thought was the cool kids, and not only like it wasn't even like, you know, the stereotypical like, oh, these are the jocks and you have to hang out with them, or these are the nerd, or these are the you know, the guys who are into music or whatever, the skater guys or whatever. It was just, you know, I didn't really know, and I still don't really know who I am a lot of the time. So I'd always just try to dress the part, sort of, you know, like if it was the goth kids, I would get a bunch of goth clothes, or if it was the rap kids, I would get like hip hop gear, which is embarrassing. Glad that not a lot of pictures of that time in my life exist because, dear God. But yeah, so I got out of school. We went to the mall. We looked around. I didn't end up buying anything, just because I just wanted kind of the excuse, I think, at that point to hang out with my grandmother. And then we went to Papagino's in Auburn, which I'm not sure if it's still there anymore. And we just sat and had a conversation, you know, about how school was going, and like what she did for work, which she worked at Norton's for a while, doing something with like ceramics, I think, or she was making like computer chips or something. I just remember visiting there, and it always smelled like burnt rubber, and it was gross. Um, but that was one of my favorite memories, just hanging out, you know. It's just, man. It's just, it's just weird thinking that she's not going to be around, and that like she's not going to see me get married or have kids. And you know, it's tough because the last time I talked to her, we got to an argument, of course, on Facebook, because it's the modern era, so everything happens on Facebook. I don't know, just it makes me worry about so many things where there's so many nothing fights that you get in with people, and like it's just over stupid shit that doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. And there are people who like I've tried to reach out to because I know I made a mistake, and I tried to say like, hey, I'm really sorry, like I know I did something that I wasn't supposed to do or whatever, and I'm not asking you to accept the apology. I don't want, I never want that negativity or whatever to be the last thing that I have between me and some other person. I don't care who it is. Like, we could be absolute enemies, and you know, I say after this conversation, I never want to do anything with or want anything to do with you. Like, but even then, I still want to be like, listen, I don't want to end things like that, you know. And it's not like we said we hated each other between me and my grandmother, but it just brings up so many other, I don't know, instances of this year where I feel like I owe so many people an apology of not being there for them, or being a selfish person in times where they needed me, and I just didn't see it, or I didn't care, or I thought my needs were more than theirs, or whatever the case might be, and it just sucks. In some weird way, I always thought that she would somehow like outlive me, if that's possible. Even though I'm 33 now, and she was like 70 something. I don't even know what how old she was. Man, it's just so hard. You feel like you're fine, and then 2 seconds later you're crying on camera in front of a bunch of strangers on the internet. But I'm probably gonna be like this for a while. I don't know when I'll be back to normal. As much as you try to tell yourself, to prepare yourself, because I was mentally, I knew that they were getting up there in age, both my grandparents, and I was trying to like mentally prepare myself for them not being around, but you can't until it actually happens. It's impossible. You can do all the hypothetical situations that you can think of. It's never going to be enough. Um, oh man, but I still plan on making videos. I don't want to just stop. If I know anything about my grandmother, it's that if she was still here, she would tell me to suck it up and get back to work. I don't think she ever took a sick day in her life. She was always take care of me and my sister. I'm worried about my family because, like, I don't know how much I should support them or not support them because I wasn't really around them much, and I haven't talked to them in years. So, oh man, but I'll be okay. Um, I have a really good support system around me with friends and different groups that I'm in, and I have people that I can reach out to. So I'm not as worried about that as I have been. And I'm still on my medication, so I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anything like that, like I've done in the past. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to, give you guys this update because I just started making videos again, and then I don't want you thinking I was just like, oh, he made one video and then disappeared for a year again, because I really do want to, get back into entertaining. One other, and I'll probably, this is already, Jesus, I've been talking for 13 minutes. I'm not going to edit this either. I'm just going to literally I'll cut it, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so one of my favorite memories, and one of the reasons why I got into, YouTube and such a big fan of comedy in general is because my grandmother would sometimes sit and watch me play, like, Zelda 64, and she was always so supportive. Watching me play the game, she'd be like cheering me on the side. Um, but she inspired me to start this channel, because I see so many people out there who are in, bad mental spaces or head spaces or whatever you want to call it, and then you see guys, the bigger names out there, or not even the bigger names, but for me, like the big influences, like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, like those are the guys that I went to when I was having a shitty day, and I want to be that for other people. I want to be, that distraction from her, that distraction from an otherwise productive day. I want that to be something I can give to people, because I know how it feels to feel lost and like you don't know where to go. I want to be able to provide at least maybe just a little bit of a light on the path. My grandmother was an amazing woman. She wasn't perfect, but nobody is. We all have our mistakes. We just have to own those and sit with our discomfort. Um, but even when I was growing up, like, this will be the last one, I promise. when I was growing up, I used to play baseball in middle school and high school, and I've always been like this size since I was 13. So six two ish, 200 and some odd pounds, full beard, like the whole nine. I got to the point where the first day that I was in little leagues. I went onto the field, and one of the parents had gone up to the coach, and they're like, "What are you doing? Like, there's an age restriction. He's like 19 years old." And they were like, "Nope, he's 12 and a half. So sorry." But when I was practicing pitching, because I'll get into that story another point, because I just need to breathe. When I was practicing pitching, it was my grandmother who would be out there with a catcher's glove, and she was in her, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s at this point. And I threw pretty fast. Like, I was 13 years old, and I think I was getting close to like 80 miles an hour. I wouldn't be able to throw that consistently, but 76, 78. So I was throwing some really, fast fastballs. But I would remember at the end of the practice, she would have to go and ice her hand for 45 minutes because I was throwing so hard it would make her hand red. But she wanted me to succeed. She wanted me to be everything that I could be, She was one of the few people that, even when I really didn't want to see it or want to admit it, that, she reminded me that that I did the best that I could, and that's what mattered. Okay. God, I've been rambling for 17 minutes. I'm gonna try to probably record something right after this, after taking a shower, because recording makes me happy. The idea of that I can, maybe I'm in a bad mood, but I can make somebody feel a little bit better, makes me feel better. So, anyways, so still expect some videos, probably not as much as I had planned before, because this does kind of come in waves. Some days I'm fine, other days I dread going out and getting. I went out the other day to get M&Ms, and it was a nightmare. But we'll get through this. Me and my family we'll get through this together. And I have you guys, and if you guys ever have any issues, reach out. I don't really have like a huge community right now or anything like that. So I don't have like a Discord specifically for like my channel or whatever, but YouTube messages or Twitter or whatever's easiest for you. If you have some problems at home or something, I'm not a professional, but I've been through a whole lot of things. So, yeah, but she was an amazing woman, and it sucks to see her go, but I know that she was proud of me and what I've done and how much I've improved, and I'm proud of me. So, anyways, I'm gonna cut it here. I'll talk to you guys later, and like I said, reach out if you ever have any issues. Maybe not me, like suicide hotline. There's plenty of resources out there. You never have to go through anything alone. There's always somebody. I love you guys, and fuck COVID. That's the big takeaway here. Fuck COVID with a big rusty fucking pipe. Alright guys, I love you. I'll see you later.